Okay, so now it's time for part 2. We're starting out with pretty much exactly the same parts as we had in the front, but now we're working on the rear end of the crawler. So for the bulkhead, I have actually put one ball on here, which the linkages will go on, and one on the other side as well, and then these two will mount together like this. But before we can do this, we're gonna have to put in the 2 gears. Okay, so now I will put the spiral gear in place here. Feels pretty solid. Now I'm gonna take one of the axles here and I'm gonna push it through here. There we go. And now I will have something to mount this gear on. But be warned, it has a special shape to it, so it will take some time to fit it, but oh gosh, these things are greasy. There we go. So that one in place. Now I can put the rest of the bulkhead on. Okay. Let me put the other axle through as well. So there we go. Now we got 4 screws sealing up or tightening the bulkheads together basically. Alright, now these are sealed up. Let me check. Yeah, it spins. It does, right? Yeah, it does. Nice. Now let me continue on by putting on the carriers for the hubs. Okay, so I just noticed that I'm gonna have to pull the axles out because otherwise the carriers will not go on nicely, but this shouldn't affect anything really, shouldn't be a problem. Now I'm gonna put on the tiniest screws on this entire car that will go in this hole, that hole, and that hole to lock the carriers onto the bulkhead. By the way guys, if you missed part 1, you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check out the link in the description. Now I was thinking about putting the axle onto the out drive. Now I got the axle in place, I'm gonna put on the I'm gonna skip ahead a bit here. I'm gonna put on the rear top plate basically, where you can keep weights, and you will also mount your linkages to this one. Now one thing to note here, since I'm installing the Billet-Works Design Micro Wedge Chassis for this one, you're basically gonna have to move the bolts right here. You're gonna have to move them to the inside like I have done, because stock they are on the outside, but for the Micro Wedge Chassis mod to work, you're gonna have to mount them on the inside. So now that one is in place. Now there is 4 screws to get this in. Okay, so now we have the carriers in place, we have all the bolts in place, we have the axle in place, and everything is working smoothly. Now I'm gonna put the hubs themselves on. Now these, it doesn't really matter as far as I'm concerned which way these go, because they're pretty much identical on each side. so it shouldn't really matter, I'm hoping. Let's put this on. There we go. And now for the 2mm screws that are fat. Okay, that was the last screw for the rear. Now you can see I got everything in place.